My name is Josh Stevens, and I'm here with my friend and business partner, Dean Sather. So, a little bit about us is Dean and I started Icebreaker Talent Management. And so far, I think we've been doing some pretty good things.
It's been a lot of fun so far. We got a lot of great people that we're working with.
Yeah, and we're just trying to get more eyes on the music scene. So, a little background, I own Ice Dragon Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's probably how Dean and I met. We've talked about this a few times, but
Yep.
we aren't sure. I was back in the scene back in the day, but I had long spikes and might have looked a little different to people. So,
Josh has got quite the reputation with his gym, so I was looking at doing some training with BJJ, and knew of him just throughout the scene and had a really great reputation. So I checked out your gym. This was right around, I want to say 2019. Myself and my oldest son, we went to your gym, and I think we did about 4 or 5 sessions. And then COVID happened, which, that changed a lot of stuff for the entire world.
Yep.
But then, slowed down with my training journey there with you. And then here we are again, meeting up with common interest, in music, in our community.
Yeah.
You do a lot for the community.
Yep. I try.
On the business side, I'm part owner of Mattress Firm in North Dakota, so we do a lot to give back to the community as well, so something really I'm proud of. But having the business mindset and then also just a passion for music and helping people is what brought us together.
Yeah. And I mean, realistically, that's all we want to do is help people. We both had a background in making our passions our livelihood, which sadly not a lot of people can do. So that's our interest in helping them achieve what we achieved and building a community of people that we enjoy being around. So when we're in the retirement home, we can all look back and laugh and talk about what we did.
Absolutely.
But my wife Caitlin is off camera, and she'll be asking the questions that we talk about. This is our very first, what is it, a video cast?
Podcast.
Yeah. I mean, podcast with pictures.
Wait, a vlog? Maybe?
A vlog?
I don't think they call them vlogs anymore.
They probably don't.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll call it a podcast with pictures.
There we go.
Alrighty. So, Dean, we know that you're in the band Vendetta Spoken, and I remember you guys back from my days when I would go to shows as even a teenager. So, what inspired the band after all these years to reunite and play again after a 10-year hiatus?
It's a great question. It really started with this show, this event that we're playing tomorrow now. Braden Hendershot, his band, they're doing a vinyl release. He was looking at, what are some bands that were in the scene then that, he would like to reunite and get together. And initially I was a bit hesitant, just, not doing anything like this for such a long time. But I would say Casey Graff, our drummer, such a passionate and talented musician. Same thing with the rest of the members of our band. This really meant a lot to him. Same thing with Vic, Thor as well. I figured, they're so passionate about this. If this is something that I can do to get us all back on stage again, more importantly for the fans, for those that come to experience music, that that I should do it. So it took some convincing. I really wasn't too sure about it, but we've practiced a handful of times. Everybody has state-of-the-art, like brand new equipment, so it's going to be quite the experience, and we're really ready for it.
Nice. Yeah, you guys came a little bit after my time in the scene. I was in the mid-90s, and we have talked about this before. Everything changed there. It wasn't really a scene back then, but a lot of the bands just played shows together. There was open mic nights, Green Earth Cafe. I remember the Midtowner in Mandan was where I spent most of my weekends. but you guys were talking, you started out at the Post and...
Yeah, many shows at the Post or the AmVets, Eagles Club, anywhere we could get a spot, especially if we're playing local, but even touring, we're going to play at some hole in the wall wherever we can. Many hotels, just event centers, wherever we could get a chance to play, we would. Before we were able to fast forward and play at Prairie Nights Casino, which was one of the highlights. But yeah, the scene has really changed and developed throughout the years. It's been it's been outstanding, and then it's lulled off as as things ebb and flow. So to really be a part of everything is really great. So I'm glad we're doing this.
And bringing back the whole nostalgia, like I wasn't around when you guys were starting, so I don't know a whole lot about your background, but what people say is you guys were pretty much legends around here. So
I don't know about that, but our dedication to what we were about was definitely at the highest level. As far as our dedication to practice and writing, having authentic, music, and performing it for our fans, that was always the most important thing. Is we're showing up. Our intention is to play an amazing show. People would say things like, "Wow, you guys sound just like your album," and I always thought that was ridiculous because you're supposed to sound just like your album, if not better.
Yep.
It's like otherwise you're doing a disservice to
some of the best concerts I've seen. That's how I say it. I know they were a great artist because they sounded just like their album, but then the stage presence and the shows they put on too.
Yeah, all about the experience.
And I can tell that with we started working with T-shirts for you guys, and your sales are huge. People remember you guys, and people are very excited to see you guys back, which is awesome after 10 years.
So awesome. It's kind of surreal. That's the best way to place all this. It's like there was a blip in time, and now here we are with having another show for great fans.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're getting able to hang out with your old bandmates and reminisce and talk about the old days and talk about the future again.
Again, it's surreal.
Yeah. Which is very cool. I'm excited. I'll be at that show, so I'm excited to see what you guys are about now and hear what other people said you were about too,
Awesome. Appreciate that. You're in for a treat.
I am. All right, Caitlin.
How does it feel to be back on stage together after such a long break?
So on many cases, it's like there wasn't a break. For most of our stuff, it's like we're hitting everything, we're remembering, recalling. Even as we were initially practicing, we're ready. The energy is it's definitely fun. It's also great to see what 10 years of experience has added. Izzy, our bass player, he's a guitar player at heart. Spoiler alert, he's playing a 6-string bass, so he's basically playing another guitar. But just the nuances that he has added to our songs, some of the additional, nuances that we're going to have all throughout this show, we're bringing 10 plus years of additional experience.
Yep.
So imagine what we were, back in the day, with so much more experience, better gear. It's just going to be better.
Technology in general.
That
in itself.
That as well. Yeah.
What were the main reasons behind the hiatus, and did you always know that you wanted to do a comeback?
So this is a really long story that we probably don't have time for. We could do it.
We'll sum it up. Or maybe we can do some parts for future.
Yeah, definitely.
Casts,
Long story short, we were on tour. The last 4 shows that we had set to play, they just they did not happen. We had just about every member of the band lose a loved one, whether it was a grandfather or etc. And that just kind of dampened our energy, dampened our drive. Everybody was starting to be at a little bit of a different place in life as well. Vic at one point was thinking of doing a different career change. We were getting burnt out. We were living the dream. We were grinding it, and we were extremely tested with those last 4 shows, that final tour, and it caused us to completely chill out. And that's where I decided to join the military. When I came back, we got together, did a little bit, but it was clear shortly after that things kind of fizzled out. Everybody had kind of moved on in separate ways. And then, in the back of my mind, did I think that we would do something again? I did. I just didn't know when. And then there was also a time where I was like, no, this is a past life. Like, it's, still gonna play some guitar, do music here and there. But I, accepted, that it's like, okay, we're done. This is something we did in the past, and, we're all in different places, and to kind of let go.
Yeah. Which, happens in life. We all get older, we move forward, we change, and then we can come back together.
And I would say it was more than just the band. It was the identity, it was who I was, who we were, and especially being more than just a person. We were a band, and even the energy that we would bring into an environment. There's one thing that I can do or you can do, but just like us now, like what we bring into an environment is just it's so much different. So when we would go to the mall or go out to eat or just do anything with a band, it just felt it was just kind of like the best feeling in the world. So then to lose that, it was sure something.
And I suppose somewhat of what we're putting together with Icebreaker too is kind of like a band, because we always refer to ourselves as a team.
Absolutely.
There's always no I in team, but everywhere we go together, we make moves together.
It's one of those things too. It's like when you represent something that's bigger than you.
Yep.
So like I represent you, you represent me, we represent the collaborative, and when people realize that they can be a part of something like that, they really enjoy it. They feel a higher sense of purpose, even.
Yeah. Well, and the ones who have came on board with us too, they seem to really enjoy what we're doing, and we kind of take out some of the old, I don't know, what would be manager, the bad relationship, which I don't even like calling us management necessarily. Like, we're business partners. We're all working together. We're working for one common goal. Like, that's why you started this, was to help each other and make sure everyone is treated fairly and gets what they deserve.
Yeah. And when our team knows that we have the vision and the drive, it makes everything that they do even just so much easier. Because they know it's like, hey, at the end of the day, they can lean on Josh, they can lean on myself, they can lean on you. So that way then they are just more effective, whether it's with their show, their event, whatever it is that they're doing, because they know that they've got this rock solid support team.
Yep. And what we've seen too is the venues, they seem to really like that they can call, talk to one person, and they know that, say something goes wrong, that artist has a whole team behind them. Say they can't make it, we can get somebody else to show up so their event isn't a flop.
Absolutely.
Which, that in business is huge, knowing that you can count on people.
Yep.
So, well, back to grinding. So what Braden started was, what is it? It was Grind Your Face Off, and now it's Hardcore Homecoming. So do you know much of the story behind all that and the change? And
I do. And there's a bit to it that there's a lot to it. So I'll leave it at that. I think even the listeners will, they'll understand. But the fact that at least it started, it almost went away, and then Braden had decided that he wanted to continue to carry the torch with this. Is great. I think that's the important thing, is that it had to do with Braden and one of his really good friends' vision to bring this back. That's what started it. I would say that is what is most important. And it's the collaborative of the bands for this scene. That's really it. To just promote a fun event, have a great time. The name shifted It is 2024, where the world has changed, and wanted to do a change of name. There was some stuff like that going on. There's other things, on the backside. And you know what? I don't even know if it's all even true or not. It could be just hearsay. But one thing led to the other. It now has a name change. Yep. And that's okay.
Yeah.
The show is going on.
Well, even before that, I've been trying to remember for the life of me, and maybe someone listening will be able to help, but there was a festival that they started when I was probably a junior in high school, so almost 30 years ago now. But they rented out Mandan High School for the first one, and that gymnasium was packed. And I want to say there was like 20 some bands. And I think Grind Your Face Off was the evolution of that.
It had to have been. Not, that alone was quite the legacy. It would draw people from all over. It was the event to be at. I remember even like with our band just wanting to play at Grind Your Face Off. We were happy to play at 2 in the afternoon or what, just to have a spot on that bill was really great. And it just kind of dwindled off. So,
I mean, who knows? I don't quite know. This will be my first time going back into the hardcore scene after a long time. So likewise. I'm excited to see what it's like now. See the showing. So it's at Laughing Sun Brewery tomorrow, Saturday the
10th.
The 10th, yeah.
I believe the first band goes on right around 12 o'clock. We play last, which is an honor to close it out. There's gonna be many great artists there.
You guys are the headliners, so
and that was cool. We were asked to do that. Got a message one night saying, hey, looking at changing the bill a bit. So, hey, that's great. We're happy to do it. Happy to close it out. I would say it is a big responsibility to start the show. To end the show, all the bands, in between. It's tough too when you're setting an event like that. You got some bands that maybe prefer a certain time, but in general, we are excited to be doing it.
Well, yeah, it's good. Those events, people will be coming in and out all day. But a lot of people will be there towards the end of the night for your set, I'm sure.
We got people traveling from all over to come see us, so that's really great.
Well, the orders we've been getting, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado.
Awesome.
So there's people all over the country that remember you guys.
That's really cool.
Are excited to see you come back. Don't know if all of them are traveling, but hey, they're supporting you guys and they're excited that you're doing stuff again.
That's so cool.
That'll be future shows if you guys do those. That'll be really cool for a lot of them, I bet.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap back around to talking a little bit more about that show, but what I'm interested to hear about is, your guys' creative process as far as you, Vendetta Spoken. So I suppose my first question would be, how has your approach to making music changed over the past decade?
It's a really good question. I would say in the past that we would almost overthink our creative process. I mean, we would write and then just really pick it apart and almost be musicians. And by that, I would say we're writing almost to, on one side, now keep in mind, this is just my opinion. I'm sure some of the other band members would have a different opinion, but
it's art. Everyone has a different opinion on what they're doing.
But it's almost like, hey, I'm going to write this piece so that way maybe another guitar player or another drummer would be like, wow, I really want to play that because that seems, that's intricate. That seems really fun to play. Versus even like how it sounds.
Like your fans, you mean, or just someone in the band?
So I'm saying the band would write music that, of course, we loved to play, but would also be for like other musicians instead of just your average listener. We had more of that intent, and now we're, with what we've been, writing, and there's been stuff throughout the years that we've wrote. It's more of the energy and the feel behind it versus it having to be very difficult or very, in depth, just more of write what's natural, that of course we enjoy, but we're not like trying as hard to maybe impress people.
Yeah. Well,
Or just showcase just because we can do something really elaborate, it's like, is that really necessary?
well, if you look back on music history in general, when I came up, I used to play guitar every night for hours and hours. And of course I would be mimicking my favorite artist at the time, but I really loved sitting down and I would just play along with Nirvana. Like,
There you go.
pick any of their albums. Very easy, very simple to figure out, and you just play along with it. But then again, sometimes I'd want to get more complex, so I would throw in Pantera and try to go along with Dimebag solos,
There you
which
go. Yeah.
isn't easy.
Yeah.
I did it probably only a couple times and probably not very well, but
Okay.
I tried,
Love it.
So.
Well, on that note, how have your musical influences evolved since the last time you guys played together?
That's a really good question too. I really appreciate music to a level that I didn't before. There was some, maybe artists or bands where it just wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. But I would say these, even these last 10 years or even 5, years, it's seeking to appreciate, why and what, somebody wrote.
Yeah.
And I would say like seeing the beauty in it, whether it's, a boy band or a country band,
Exactly.
rap, whatever, just seeing the music, the energy within, and not just disliking something because it's cool to
Yep.
to not, like, oh, we don't like boy bands or
Yep.
this, that, or the other. I would say that's how it's changed. And then with the 5 members of our band, everybody has a pretty diverse background, and they will even have side projects where maybe they'll do some hip hop or do some softer stuff. I started playing so much more acoustic and even finger picking, and even doing some like lighter singing versus the heavy metal stuff. So not necessarily mellowing out, but broadening.
Yeah.
And just being much more broader, where prior it was either metal or hard rock, or if it wasn't heavy, it wasn't good. I didn't want any singing on our stuff, and I'm not trying to say that that's necessarily where the future is going, but that was the mentality then. On like, no, I like my metal, and it's got to be this or nothing else.
With
Which
that,
just-
I mean, maybe that's just part of growing up, but yeah, we were the same way with all the bands that like I played with when I was young, and now coming up and being more of the business side of things, like I appreciate everything they put in more. Like when I work with Dakota Faye, for example, like just his range
So
is
much
amazing.
talent.
Like he can rap, he can play with the Dixie Chicks, he can do like a softer song. SPG, you can fit him in anywhere and he will make a hit, and he just has so much energy.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You just appreciate the energy and the passion behind what people do. And it could be music, it could be their style of art, it could just be what they love about life. If they're really passionate about, if it's helping others or whatever it is, if they're passionate about it, that's what I think is inspiring. And
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And seeing like Danny Savage, for example, I think he is probably one of the most talented musicians in all of North Dakota. And just seeing like he plays a style I never would have liked back in the day.
Sure.
But just seeing what he does and how much fun, like I had a blast going to his concert just because
Awesome.
he had such a good stage presence. He would talk about his life, he would talk about what inspired him, what there, instead of just being like, here's the next hit. Like
Yeah.
he just brought you in, and
That's
that's
right.
what I'm seeing with a lot of the newer artists out there is
Sure.
they're a lot more than just playing a song. They're letting you see them as a human,
Yeah.
which is
That's awesome.
really inspiring to see.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to say one thing about the music scene now, I think that's the growth that I liked the most seeing.
Awesome.
So
Love that.
Are there any new songs or material that you're particularly excited to share with your audience coming up?
That's kind of a spoiler alert type thing.
should we hold that off and just wait?
It's I'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
But that's a great question. Thank you.
And I think for that, we should just keep it there. Keep this short and sweet. And,
All right.
anything you want to add before we go on?
No, hey, for anybody that is watching or listening, that's outstanding. So, we appreciate that for sure. Thank you so much. More greatness to come. It's cool this being our first one. So just glad to be a part of this and excited to help others.
Yeah, and the side projects I'm sure you're going to be working on here with people, because right now we're trying to nurture established and, more importantly, younger up-and-coming talent to let them know that we have their back.
Absolutely.
And that you're willing to work with them, and we're having everybody in our group will be working with everybody. So there will be a lot of collaborations and a lot of really cool stuff to come.
Absolutely.
So just one more time to close out, you want to go ahead and let us know about the show tomorrow, where to see you, when to get there, and what to expect.
Awesome. Laughing Sun starts at 11 o'clock. Great bands. Stick around for the entire event. We're going to close it down. I believe we go on at right around 10 o'clock, 10:30. And yeah, Laughing Sun, I'm trying to remember the address.
What is it? Right up front?
Right up front, yep.
Yep, right
Can't
up
miss
front.
it.
Front and 12th, something like that?
We have the Googles these days.
We do.
You just throw in Laughing Sun and boom,
Yeah.
you're going to get there.
They got great food,
Yeah.
all sorts of drinks. I hear they got a really good root beer.
I go in pretty much every night when I'm seeing other artists, and I will sit and have a root beer and watch them. That's my thing. So
Love it.
awesome. Well, as always, good to see you, Dean. I see you all the time and talk to you all the time now, but
This is fun.
each time it's a blast. So
Absolutely.
all right. Well, hopefully everyone enjoyed this.